All right, so here we go with your quiz 4 study guide. SQ bisects RST. All right, so if SQ bisects RST, then this angle right here is congruent to this angle right here. And you're told RSQ is 3x minus 9. Write an expression for RST. Diagram is not to scale. All right, so you need an expression for the big angle, RST. Well, if these two angles are congruent to each other, then this angle is also 3x minus 9. So the expression for the big angle would be that 2 times 3x minus 9 is equal to angle RST. So the expression that we're looking for is this 2 times 3x, which is 6x, and the 2 times the negative 9, which is negative 18. So there's your expression for angle RST, given that information. Problem number 2, name an angle complementary. Complementary means sums 90 degrees. Complementary to COD. So I'm going to identify COD first. And COD is right here. So I need something that I can add to COD to form a 90-degree angle. Well, we talked about it earlier, that if this angle here on the left is 90 degrees, then this entire angle on the right is 90 degrees. So complementary to COD would be BOC right here. Because BOC plus COD form the 90-degree angle BOD. So complementary to COD would be angle BOC. The complement of an angle is 25. What is the measure of the angle? So here's what we do. We take an angle plus 25 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. Complement of an angle. So complementary angles sum 90. So if you subtract 25 from each side of this equation that we wrote, then the angle is equal to 90 minus 25, which is 65 degrees. Number 4 asks you to name an angle vertical to DGE. DGE is right here. All right. Vertical angles are opposite of each other. They're formed by the same two lines. So if I call this line L and this line M, where L and M intersect at G, forms these two angles right here. And these two angles are called vertical angles. And this angle has two different ways of naming it. You could name it IGJ or JGI. Those are the two angles that are vertical to DGE. They're opposite of each other. They are congruent to each other. Angle A and B are a linear pair. So if they're a linear pair, then they form a line. if the measure of angle A is equal to 3 times the measure of angle B, angle A is 3 times the measure of angle B. Find angle A and find angle B. So if we call this angle B, then the other angle has to be 3 times angle B. So this angle has to be 3 times B. What do these two have to sum? These two have to sum 180. So we've got a B plus a 3B that equals 180. So our equation would be B plus 3B equals 180. So 4B equals 180, divide by 4, and angle B is equal to 45. So if angle B is equal to 45 degrees, then angle A is equal to 3 times 45 degrees. So A is equal to 3 times 45. Which is 135 degrees. So those are your two angle measures. Problem number 6. MO bisects LMN. So that means this angle is congruent to this angle. The measure of LMO is 6x minus 22. The measure of NMO is 2x plus 34. Solve for x and find the measure of LMN. And LMN is this big angle right here. So if these two angles are congruent, then 6x minus 22 is equal to 2x plus 34. So we can subtract 2x from each side. Four x minus 22 is equal to 34. Add 22 to each side. So 4x is equal to 56. And then divide by 4. So x equals 14. That's the first part of the question. Solve for x. Well, if x is equal to 14, then this angle right here, NMO, is equal to 2 times 14 plus 34. And 2 times 14 plus 34 is equal to 62 degrees. So this angle on the right is 62 degrees. The angle on the left is 62 degrees. So the measure of angle LMN is equal to 2 times 62 degrees, which is 124. Problem number 7 asks you to name an angle supplementary to COD. Well, if this is COD, what angle can we combine with COD to sum 180 degrees? Supplementary angles sum 180 degrees. So I'm looking at this straight line right here. I'm looking at the straight line EC. What can I combine with COD to form that straight line? Well, right here. EOD. So supplementary to COD is angle EOD, or you can call it angle DOE. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. Find the measure of each angle. If they're a linear pair, they form a straight line, don't they? And if they're a linear pair, what do they sum? 180. So x minus 39 plus x plus 61 is equal to 180 degrees. So we're going to combine our x's. We get 2x. Going to combine our constants, the negative 39 plus 61. 22, positive 22. That's equal to 180. Gonna subtract 22 from each side. So our 2x is equal to 158. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 79. But the question was to find the measure of each angle. So angle 1 is equal to 79 minus 39, which is 40 degrees. And angle 2 is equal to 79 plus 61. Which is 140 degrees. So those are your two angle measures. MO bisects LMN. Seen this question a lot lately. So those two angles are congruent. LMN, the big angle, the entire angle, measures 5x minus 23. LMO equals x plus 32. Find the measure of NMO. NMO. Well, if the two angles are congruent to each other, then this angle equals NMO. The expression we can use is x plus 32 again. So 2 of our x plus 32s are equal to 5x minus 23. So if we do the distributive property, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 32 is 64, and that's equal to 5x minus 23. Now we can subtract 2x from each side. $64 is equal to 3x minus 23. Add 23 to each side. And 64 plus 23 is equal to 87 is equal to 3x. And we divide each side by 3. and our x is equal to 29. But again, that's not the question. The question was to find the measure of NMO. So the measure of angle NMO is equal to x plus 32, and our x is equal to 29. So we go 29 plus 32. And 29 plus 32 is 61 degrees. Number 10 asks you to find an angle adjacent to DGE. Adjacent to DGE. So here's DGE. Adjacent means next to. Adjacent angles share a vertex and they share a side. So we have to have DG in our description, or I'm sorry, we have to have point G in our description. Adjacent to DGE. Well, DGF is adjacent right here. It's next to it. So we can say DGF or FGD. That's one angle that's adjacent to it. And I can't get my pens to change colors. So there's another angle that's next to DGE, and that's this angle, EGH. So EGH, or we could call it HGE. Adjacent, share a vertex, share a side. Next to each other. Adjacent means next to. Number 11, DFG and JKL are complementary angles. If they're complementary, then they sum 90 degrees. Find the measure of each angle. So we're going to take DGF, which is x plus 5. We're going to add it to JKL, which is x minus 9. And the sum of those two angles is 90 degrees. So we're combining like terms again. 2x. And now we got a positive 5 minus 9 gives us a negative 4 equal to 90. Add 4 to each side. So 2x equals 94. Divide by 2. And we get an x equal to 47. So then to find DG or DFG is equal to 47 plus 5. And 47 plus 5 is 52 degrees. JKL is equal to 47 minus 9, which is 38 degrees. There's your two angles. Complementary angles, sum 90. Supplementary angles, sum 180. All right, number 12 is asking for 3 other names for line P. Here's line P. All right, remember we can name a line with a uppercase script letter, which is what they used. In this case, they used, lowercase script letter. They used the lowercase script letter to identify the line. So we can call this line We can use 2 points on the line, BC. We can call it line CD. And the third name we could give this line would be line BD. You can name a line with any 2 points, any 2 collinear points. 2 points on the same line. Number 13, what are 3 names for the angle? Well, we've got this number 1 down here in the corner, so we can call it angle 1. In this case, M is the only vertex in the description, or not in the description, but in the diagram. So we could also call it angle M. We could call it angle LMN. And we can also call it angle NML. All right, so there's 4 names for the angle. And number 14 asks you for what are 2 other names for angle 2. Well, here's angle 2 down here. All right, so point M is the vertex for 3 angles in this diagram. So we can't use just the M. So 2 other names for angle 2, we could call it angle KML. We could also call it angle LMK. And I believe that's the last problem on your study guide. So that concludes your study guide for quiz 14.